Ed Reed was announced to be the Bethune Cookman head coach about a week ago, and it's been oddly silent ever since. Also, the NCAA Tournament is thinking about expanding to 90 teams, 9-0, but what would this mean for HBCU conferences? Oh yeah, it's Locked on HBCU. Play my music.
You are Locked on HBCU, your daily podcast covering HBCU sports. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked on HBCU podcast, your number one daily one-stop shop for everything HBCU athletics, Monday through Friday, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. And I, of course, am Darian Gray, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, Texas Southern alum and former TSU Herald Sports editor. Thank you for going on this journey with me, making Locked on HBCU your first listen of the day every day. Y'all know that I appreciate it, but remember, just because the mic cuts off does not mean that the journey is over. It just means it's time to follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives, which you can see right here at the bottom of the screen. Anytime y'all hear me, if you're on the audio side and you hear me take a pause or say or do a grimace, or hear a grimace, it probably means I was pointing at the graphic. I don't do it all the time, but when I do, I definitely let you know if it was successful or a failure, and I've had both. But y'all know where to follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives. Don't forget the S on the end if you're on the audio side of things. Now, I want to start off with a question that I don't have the answer to, and maybe you do. If you do, y'all know where to answer me at South Exclusives or in the comments below. Actually, I think I prefer you to do it in the comments below so people can interact with you and we can have a whole discourse. But here's my question. Why have things been so quiet on Bethune Cookman and Ed Reed? Y'all find that odd, right? I do. I can't be the only person who finds that strange, that things have been pretty much radio silent for a week since Ed Reed was announced to be the Bethune Cookman head coach. And listen, I'm going to nip this in the bud. I'm not trying to drum up some conspiracy theory. I don't think that Ed backed out of his deal or anything. I'm not trying to drum that up. I'm just saying this is a big time hiring and things have been quiet. The biggest update that I've gotten about Ed Reed in Bethune Cookman since he's been hired a week ago came from Ed Reed's Instagram earlier yesterday. I go on there just to check and see what it's going to be, because when he was hired, he posted something that, it was very cryptic. And if you didn't know what he was talking about, you probably just thought Hall of Famer just talking. Yesterday, he posted a picture of him with what looked like a Walmart, because Walmart coat hangers look like Walmart coat hangers. And there was a Bethune Cookman jacket next to him. So I'm not trying to say that he backed out of his deal. He's not committed. He is 100% the new head coach of Bethune Cookman. But can you really say that it feels like it? Because I can't. Can you really say it feels like Bethune Cookman is treating this like a big time hire? Because I can't. He was hired a week ago, and what else do you know about his hiring? It's just an odd silence. It's just an odd silence. You don't know anything else. When he was hired, they dropped a two-sentence article. Bethune Cookman dropped a 2-sentence article saying Bethune Cookman has hired Ed Reed as their whatever number head coach in school history. There will be more information forthcoming. Well, it's been about a week, Bethune, and I ain't had a lick of information that's been forthcoming yet. How long am I supposed to wait? How am I rushing the process? Am I rushing this process? This is not a regular hire. I would have thought there would have been a lot more fanfare attached to this. This is Ed Reed. Forget everything that happened with Deion Sanders and the history of Jackson State as far as what they were when he was there and everything that happened with that. Throw that out the window. This is Ed Reed. This is NFL legend, NFL Hall of Famer, Ed Reed. And you telling me nothing more than 2 sentences and really only one saying that he's been hired, and that's the only information I'm getting since? That's strange to me. And I know a lot of people might question, well, what are you even looking for? What do you want? Well, let's start off with an introductory press conference. I think it's been long enough for that. Can I see him in a Bethune-Cookman hat? Can I see him in an actual jacket, not just posing next to one at Walmart? Can I see Ed Reed in front of a table with Bethune-Cookman on it? Can I see anything that is actually connecting him to Bethune-Cookman? That's all I want. I don't think I'm asking for a lot. I'm not looking for a lot. But right now, the way everything's been handled, this feels like a rumor. Ed Reed to Bethune-Cookman feels like a rumor because since it's been announced that he's hired, it's been radio silent. The problem with that is it's not a rumor. It's an actual hiring. I know it happened. But why are they not pushing this more? And I'm used to HBCU news falling under the radar, not being able to get a lot of information. But this ain't no regular hire. This is Ed Reed. This is a big time hire. This was a high profile hire. But by the way that everything has happened in the week since, you wouldn't know. I'm ready to break down things from his press conference. I'm ready to talk about, some of the recruits. I haven't even heard any current players really talk about how this is a big time move. And maybe I missed it, but I feel like this should have been consistent chatter. Look up Ed Reed. Just search up Ed Reed. And right now, with Ed Reed becoming a head coach for the first time in his career, you should see a bunch of articles about Bethune-Cookman, but you won't. You won't see it. They wrote that he was hired, and they haven't wrote anything since. You know why? Because there's nothing to be written. When he was hired, somebody asked me who's going to be on his coaching staff. I don't know. And at that moment, I was okay saying that I don't know. Because he had just got hired the day before. It was okay to say, oh, I don't know who's going to be on Ed Reed's coaching staff. If he's talking to anybody, if Ed Reed's talking to anybody, he must be talking to the most tight-lipped, trustworthy people that he know, because we haven't got a lick of news of who he's even considering putting on his coaching staff. Not a single player, not a single coach, not anything has come from that camp. In a way, I kind of respect it. The ability to keep everything under lock like this is commendable. But in my position, it's infuriating. I'm ready to see something. I'm ready to know something. I'm ready to hear something. I'm tired of Ed Reed to Bethune-Cookman feeling like a rumor when I know he's going to Bethune-Cookman. Can I get an Ed Reed quote? Can I get something? Can I see him smoking a cigar on campus? Can I get something? I am being hypersensitive because of who the coach is. Like I said, I understand a lot of HBCU news falls under the radar. I would have never expected this to be the case. I don't think it is. I just think it's odd that we haven't gotten any more information. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I would love to have a conversation about this. And going forward, we're going to keep pulling, or we're going to keep pushing, and we're going to talk about the NCAA tournament that is thinking about expanding to 90 teams. What would this mean for the SWAC and the MEAC? I'll let you know as we continue with Locked On HBCU. But first, I want to tell you about our sponsors today. And today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is the #1 place for all of your sports wagering needs. You see it right down here at the graphic below. Listen, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, the World Cup when it was going, the Masters when it pops up, combat sports whenever the next big time UFC fight is going. Make sure you put your money down on all of these events with BetOnline. You can bet on the futures. You can bet on the Super Bowl. You can bet on the NBA championship. You can bet who's going to be the MVP. Do we think that Mahomes might have stolen from Hurts in the time that Hurts was away with injury? I don't know, but let me know what you think. And when you do, go ahead and do that on BetOnline and put your money down behind your words. BetOnline, where the game starts. As we keep on rolling on today's episode of Locked On HBCU, I appreciate you for making us your first listen of the day every single day. For your second listen of the day, make sure you're checking out Peter Bukowski and all of the local experts breaking down the national stories on Locked On Sports Today, wherever you get your podcast, including this app right here. You ain't even got to change. Just go ahead and stick on this app and type in Locked On Sports Today. And when I finish talking, press send, press play, and go ahead and get your news for the day, okay? It's just that simple. The NCAA tournament is thinking about expanding from 68 teams to 90 teams. And if that were to happen, March Madness, of course, would only get madder. But what would be the impact on HBCUs? That's what we're going to talk about. I want to first break down the timeline of it all, because I don't want you to think that, oh, they're thinking about it. Oh, it happened. March, you're going to have 90 teams. No. 2023, normal. 2024, normal. If they accept the proposal, because they're only thinking about it. It's only in consideration. It's still a proposal. No one has accepted it. They haven't even deliberated on this yet. But if it's accepted in 2025, that's when you'll have it. This is the note. Final decisions on changes to the size of each sport's postseason bracket would need to be approved by that sport's governing body by January of 2024 for implementation in the academic year of 2024-2025. In that academic year, the March Madness would fall in 2025. It's a spring sport. So this wouldn't happen until the spring of 25. I have my doubts on it could happen because 68 is already a huge bracket. Upping it to 90 feels a tad bit excessive, but whatever. Let's talk about what this could mean. But we have to start off with where HBCUs sit right now in the current bracket. And in the current bracket, you're looking at HBCUs are often the 16th, 15th ranked teams. They're very low. Or they'll be in the play-in. And the play-in is those extra 4 teams. So there's 68 teams that make the bracket right now. 4 of them have to play in. I hate the play-in game. I wish they would just do away with it, right? And maybe this is going to do away with it. But I wish they would do away with it. I absolutely hate it. HBCUs playing the play-in game. If they win, they go to the actual March Madness, which is 64 teams. And I want you to know this actual is just me, but everybody else don't feel that way. But you go to the actual NCAA tournament, and you just go on from there. When you win, if you win, you go to the next level, next round. If you lose, you go home. You lose in a play-in game, you just go home. You didn't get in. That's why it's called a play-in. I don't know, man. I don't like the inclusion of these 4 teams. You are not a March Madness team if you lose in a play-in. That's like being the 9th seed in the West, losing in the play-in, and all of a sudden you're a playoff team or considered a playoff team that year. No, you're not. You played to get in. You lost, so you didn't get in. I don't know. It's simple to me, but maybe I'm getting on my high horse or whatever. So let me step down and just talk about the tournament as is. So that's what you're looking at. 68 teams. Often you're a playing team or you're a very low seed, and it is what it is. So this will be a major change for NCAA sports. Clearly, you're adding 32 new teams to an already epic event that takes up a month. But would it actually be a change for HBCUs? I can give you the good news first, or I can give you the bad news first. And because you're not here to actually reply to me right now, I'm going to give you the bad news first so that we can wash it down with some positivity. The negative path, well, not good news, bad news, more so negative path versus positive path. The negative path for this is nothing really changes. HBCU conferences, the MEAC and the SWAC, still only have one automatic bid. And with one automatic bid, you're looking at still only one HBCU from each conference getting it. And that's one thing that we want to rectify. If it's going to expand, you don't want to just keep the status quo. But I'm going to be real with y'all. This ain't being optimistic or pessimistic. This is being realistic. These type of expansions do not benefit mid-majors. They do not benefit the Cinderella teams. This is meant to get more big schools in there. That's what it's for. So I'm not certain things are going to improve for a Texas Southern or an Alcorn or maybe a Delaware State or a Howard, or Norfolk State. I'm not sure things are going to improve for them. But we're going to go into the negative side. And the worst case scenario is you're still treated like the bottom of the barrel. And now you go from being a 16th seed or maybe even a 15th seed, and now you're a 21st seed. That is something I'd have a problem with. That's something I would have an issue with. But let's get into the positive, because I don't want to drown you with the negative. Let's go ahead and wash it down with the positive. The positive is let's say you keep one automatic bid. We want to. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's say that you get one automatic bid. The hope is that team is still a 15th, 16th ranked team. There's going to be more seeds now. And I think that only happens if you set some type of caveat like, listen, automatic bids can't be lower than this. Now, HBCUs will probably be the lowest as it is. We know how it goes. But if they're the 15th, 16th seed in an expanded bracket, you're not facing the top team in the bracket, the top 2 teams in the bracket. And that was the problem. Look at Jackson State when they went to LSU and they played LSU. They were the 14th seed and they went against the 3rd seed. It's a much better opportunity. I'm not saying that you're guaranteed to win, but I mean, you're playing one of the 4 best teams in the bracket, in the whole dance. Now, if I play a 5 seed, a 6 seed, I have a much better chance A much better chance. And I think that's one of the benefits for an expanded bracket. As long as HBCUs are somewhere in the middle of the bracket now, you don't have to face the best of the best, and you get to kind of maybe even win a game. I think you will see more HBCUs advance to the second round if the bracket was expanded. Now, another positive outlook is you have one automatic bid, but you have more HBCUs who get in over time because there's more teams. There's more mid-majors who are able to make it. So now, they talked about how the SWAC is trying to make their, especially with McClellan being with the NCAA board, you're trying to make the scheduling more agreeable to the board. So now maybe your second place team is able to get in. And instead of going to the NIT tournament with 90 teams in the HBC or in the NCAA tournament, you can now put a second team, a second HBCU from the MEAC, a second HBCU from the SWAC. And I'll take that. Even if it's not two automatic bids, if two HBCUs from the same conference get in frequently, I'll accept it. And I'll be very happy. I will. So that's the positive side of things. Positive side, maybe you get a middle of the pack seeding. Maybe you get two teams in there. Both are definitely big time wins, and we'll see. I don't think it's going to get accepted. 68 is already a huge amount for a bracket. Upping that to 90 feels overkill, to be honest. So we'll see what the decision is going to be. But going forward, we're going to go ahead and switch gears yet again, and we're going to be talking about Howard in the women's side of it, and how they're trying to heat up going into MEAC play. Before I get into that, however, today's episode is brought to you by Built Bar. And it brings me great excitement to tell you that you can go to Sam's, swipe the Sam's card. You can go ahead and get you a 13-pack Built Bar. Go ahead and go to Walmart. You ain't even got to swipe a card to get in there. You might have to swipe a card to pay unless you paying with cash. But you can get a 4-pack there, cookies and cream, churro, peanut butter brownie. Oh my God, there's so many delicious flavors. There's so many different types. You have the regular Built Bar. You have Built Granola. You have Built Puff. All covered in chocolate and deliciousness and filled with protein. Listen, being healthy does not typically feel this good. It does not taste this good. So don't pass up on an opportunity to get the best of both worlds when you can get it. All right, so go ahead and go to built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your offer. Or if you don't want to wait and you need it right now, it's my Built Bars and I need it now. Just go ahead and go to Walmart or Sam's Club and you can get that variety pack at your own pace. You just let me know what you want to do. As we're wrapping up today's episode of Locked On HBCU, I appreciate y'all making it to the end of the show. And I want to talk about Howard women's basketball because they're trying to heat up going into MEAC play. And I like to highlight this anytime it happens. Anytime somebody is able to sweep the weekly awards, I like to identify that, this is a big deal because it's not often that a performance by a team is good enough that all three awards go to one school. And that's exactly what happened with Howard women's basketball after their win over Virginia Commonwealth. Now, I ain't trying to hype this up. Promise you I'm not. I'm not trying to say that Virginia Commonwealth were world beaters or that, Howard's back on track now. No, I said exactly what I meant. Howard is trying to heat up, and they want to continue performances like this going into MEAC play. And if they can, they're going to be very happy. So let's look at it. Destiny Howell won Player of the Year for the second time this year, right? One of only 3 MEAC players to win a weekly honor twice. You had one player who was able to win it or win the MEAC Player of the Week twice, and one was a Rookie of the Week twice as well. The reason this is important, because it means you were a star that week, right? And you get a sticker if you talk about kids. Well, when you talk about collegiate athletes, every conference is going to give their weekly honors, and it means you were the best player in this particular field on this week. And this week, it was all Howard players. So you had Howell, who was the player of the week. She had 35 points in the one game that they played. They were 1-0. They only played that one game. But she had 35 points, which was a career high, and it topped her 34 points, which was a career high that she set earlier this year, the first time that she actually won Player of the Week. So this isn't new to her. She's shooting the 3-point at a high clip. She had 9 of 13 or shot 9 of 13 from the 3-point range in this game. And this is the first time that a MEAC player shot and made 9 threes in a singular game since a Howard player did it in 2019. So maybe it's something about them Lady Bison that just knocked down a 3 at a high clip. I don't know. But then you look at her teammates. And that's when you got Nile Miller, who was the rookie of the week. And she had the leading team, or she led the team in rebounds, setting a career high in 7 points. And she also added a block and a steal. Then you look at Khaniyah Harris, who was the defensive player of the week. And she had a similar stat line, right? So she had herself 2 blocks. She had 6 boards, and she had herself a steal. So it's very similar numbers, an extra block, 1 less rebounds, same amount of steals. But she got defensive player of the week. And here's the funny thing is, yeah, that was a great performance, but her most noteworthy stat actually came on the offensive side of things, where she had 13 assists, which was a career high for her. And if Howard can continue this type of momentum, because this is what it's about. It's all about momentum. I'm not trying to tell you that they just saved their season against Virginia Commonwealth, but I'm telling you that Destiny Howell had a career high in points. Nile Miller had a career high in rebounds. Khaniyah Harris had a career high in assists. So this is kind of a career night of sorts. And yeah, they all deserve to be players of the week, whether that was offensive player of the week, defensive player of the week, rookie of the week. They all deserve this praise. They deserve to get this spotlight. Now you got to carry that into conference play, because it hasn't been the greatest of years for Howard. You haven't been overly successful. You haven't won that many games, but you have some really great individual performance, and you're hoping that you can carry that. Because it was the last game before conference play, and conference play is going to start this weekend. It's going to start on the 7th. We'll see what they can do, but I'm telling you, they're trying to chase Norfolk. And Howard was the conference champions just last year. This ain't something that they're new to, and to me, knowing how to win when stakes are at their highest is an important trait. That's something that I value. So I believe those teams get the benefit of the doubt when thinking they can right the ship. No, it doesn't always work that way. I'm aware. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to assume that they can do it. Destiny Howell was there. She knows what it feels like to win a championship. She knows what it feels like to be on a good team. She knows what it feels like to probably go through adversity and fight back. You have to do that here. And we'll be here every step of the way to see if they're able to do it, see if they can compete with Norfolk State, who is right now leading the MEAC going into conference play. And we'll be breaking it down on Locked On HBCU. So continue making us your first listen of the day. Every day for your second listen of the day, you have the national stories being broken down by the local experts. And Peter Bukowski is going to be the host on Locked On Sports today. Don't even change your app. Just listen to it right now wherever you're listening to me at this moment. So make sure you're doing that. On tomorrow's episode, Anscape has dropped the list of can't-miss NFL prospects, and we're going to be talking about them on the show. In the meantime, in between time, if you're looking for me, you can find me on Twitter at South Exclusives. Until the next time that we hear each other, family, take care, stay blessed. Peace.